Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, the GAC-focused podcast. I'm joined here by my regular co-hosts TJ and Sasha Isha. Dagger couldn't make it today. He's recovering from some recent couple surgeries, and everything's okay. He's good. We wish him well. Hope he recovers. Look forward to having him back with us very very soon. But yeah, how you guys doing today? All before we even dig into how our GAC week is, how crazy is the news overload just today?
I just
Fire hose.
CG's ability. This is the adult rated, right? We're adult themed.
Yeah. I do have it flagged that this is not for the kiddies. Yes.
Okay. The bukkake of information from the amount of different places it is coming all over the player base is just nuts. To where the point I haven't even touched the game because I'm just trying to absorb all the details from all the different places that are happening. And I mean, they didn't talk about anything we want to talk about, and I'm not going to steal Sasha's thunder, but the amount of information is so overwhelmingly large that they give tidbits that were in game that would to me would be on the road ahead, right? And then it's like new Datacron set, and then let's talk about we have the new raid that released. And I'm not going to steal that thunder. It's like, holy man, just chill, guys. One thing at a time is fine.
And so at the time of this recording, guys, it's been a momentous day. We got the new Naboo raid, which is gorgeous, by the way. Like, beautiful. The sounds are great too. Be sure to play it with the music and the sounds on. Really dope stuff. But I'll flash a screen cap here. I did have one top level team. This is the only team I had with all the Relic 9s to actually do it. But it's not that hard. I got a max score, and it's beautiful. All, like, front to back. Really enjoyed it.
I'm so jealous. I haven't even played it yet, dude. But I do want to say one thing for the people. They didn't talk about it, but it was in there in the preface. If you have the Omi mats, the Bombardiers, the Gungan Omicron is live. They didn't. I don't know why it wasn't in, but they talked about it before. It's only 10 mats.
Yeah,
so
it is.
If you're a person who's going in, we did it the last time for Bausch, right? Or Boosh, or whatever her name is.
Doing it right now on stream. You saw it here live, folks. Done.
It's for 10 mats, dude, and it's giving you raid score, and they're upping the amount of information to the load. And if you have your Gungans, you're gonna have them good. Yeah. Go get that. Omi. I think for 10 mats, that is a steal for where essentially is one of the most must-have places to play the game is the raid. So the benefits outweigh the cost, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So not only did we have the Naboo raid, we've got the road ahead, which, it wasn't the most informative, but it beats a sharp stick in the eye. And given everything else we've got coming out today, we have a pretty solid picture of what's coming, right? And then they, at the tail end of the afternoon here, released information on Datacron Set 16. So I'll be putting out a video on that soon here with Aesop. But it's
I am
crazy.
So excited for that video, dude. This is one. It's like I know we can't talk about it. We're doing GAC, but
it's all right.
The combo packs. I think it's going to be a long video for you and for Aesop, right? Aesop does some really great theory crafting. Is one of the best when it comes to what he wants to do with DCs. He's really good, and obviously he's the Aesop, so he's the god among gods when it comes to rerolls and min maxing, right? Mm-hmm. I am excited to see, and it's a plug for Tassis thing, but I think on this one, it's turned upside down because we're not doing a faction-based. We're doing a character type-based, and we've never done that. So it's like, how does this interact? And some of those dark side level 3s tied into the thing are so cool. And it's like you're looking like we talked about it before, the Philadelphia, right? And you're the dude with the fucking string everywhere as you're trying to put everything together. It's like, how does this go with this T? How's this going to interact? It's a lot, man. It's really awesome.
It is. It looks like it's going to be pretty complex. It just came out here within the last couple hours here before we started recording, folks. So there's a lot to digest yet, but it looks really fun. I'm glad that they're continuing to change things. I saw some of our favorite level 3s will be coming back again. Lord Vader looks like he'll be a real serious deal again. I like that. The last thing I want to mention before we dig into the the meat of the show is look.
Okay, before just in case somebody listens to this, before they roll their first Datacron and they haven't looked at other stuff, one just user tip for this new Datacron set is unlike prior sets where level 3 light side or dark side, and this set does have light side and dark side as an alignment level 3, that does not determine what you can roll on level 6 and most importantly on level 9. So as an example, if you really want a Bosk level 9, a level 3 light side won't influence that. What will influence it is what you roll on level 6. It has to be a tank. If you roll attacker, even if you have dark side on level 3,
That's
won't
actually,
matter.
dude, I didn't know that.
The roll
I
type
didn't
on
even know
6
that.
determines
Oh
the
my
9 you get.
So,
Okay.
God.
It does require you to sort of reconfigure your perspective on these. And that light side or dark side, once your thing is complete, this is the first set we've ever had, that once you hit level 9, you can go back and change light side and dark side. Level 3 can be changed.
Oh, that is
level
nice.
6 can't.
Now, you know what this
God.
means? You know what this means? I mean, again, I know we could sit here and just dig into this, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but one thing I really like the idea is some type of dark side level 9, right? Like a Bosk level 9. I'm saying, like, I don't, well, a dark side level 9 or a dark side whatever, but like with the max health damage light side level 3 for Bausch on your Jabba team, like having the idea to have dark and light on the same cron sounds really fun.
Yep.
And Gamorrean Guard actually has something in there. So you can technically build in a actual hut base and give that to Chrysanthemum, because if you do the tank, dude, oh my God. It's too much. It's too much CG.
That's true. All right. Last thing I wanted to mention here, though, as far as like in the news day, is look at all of the changes of portraits, guys. If it's any type of character that's usable in the raid, it probably got a portrait change and a model tweak or upgrade. All right, I'm talking about look at your Sith, look at your Separatists. A lot of the characters got some minor tweaks and polish, but it looks really good. Like you'll see a lot of surfaces on characters that were previously just matte and flat looking and undetailed. There's a little bit more texture. There's a little bit more shine on the metal plates on the characters that got it. But most of these portrait changes are bangers. And correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. Very rare is it. I guess they probably wouldn't do this for the GLs because they're already pretty good art wise, I guess. But like, if they're changing all these portraits, does this not portend that they're going to be doing a lot of model updates? Like, is this part of the long-term future of the game, that to make it look like it's not a PlayStation 2 like level hardware game put on a phone? If they're really serious about making this succeed on PC and maybe in the future on console, they got to make it look sharp.
I will say, you don't invest in something that's failing, and them doing the PC beta after this many years tells you that they're going to keep reinvesting what they're doing. Yeah, they may only have one computer. Yeah, they may only have one thing, but for something that is clearly still profitable and they're still clearly doing things, yeah, we all have our complaints about it, but this should also give the point of reference that it's going to continue to improve. And you can't diss CG when it comes to kits. So the kits they're doing and the things that they're doing with it are only continuing to improve as well. So to me, it's a small price to pay to see the big changes that they're trying to implement. And like I said, you talked about the new Brew Raid. I am excited. I haven't even touched it because there's so much to digest, but I am excited to see what it's going to look like. And hearing the sounds, they've been doing that really well also, right? They've really been triggering like our heartstrings and filling for all us diehards that want to hear it. It's like, no, you put the sound on, because I'm pretty sure I'm one of many who have done sound off, play the game, get your stuff done, right? But they're actually putting the events in, like doing Poby, dude. Poby was so cool, and the sounds that they're doing with it, it's like all of these like cinematic just awesomeness it's just wild, dude. It's really a good time to be in Swiggle right now.
Agreed. Okay, guys, let's get into the main agenda here. Meta matchups for the week. So, yeah, we continue to be dominated by Gungans, by JMK, Slacker. Who am I missing?
Oh, I got a new one, and we'll talk about it on my thing.
Queen Amidala,
well, first
I guess, yeah.
I'm gonna give you a new one that you wouldn't think, but Aesop helped out, or an Aesop team.
Oh, yeah?
Cass knows what I'm talking about with the Aesop teams.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in the thing, and it's super cool. it's high risk, high reward to the umpteenth degree. Trav placed it on me, but I also want to say 2-1. But I am 100% okay. Bane on defense, dude.
Okay, yeah, I've heard tell. Go on.
It's okay. This thing is the ultimate high risk, high reward. If you pull SOKR or some of these other key teams, what you have left is not enough to take that team. Just because if Bane gets to go and you have the right setup, it will delete your team, right? So SOK or Bane or something else is there, but I've never faced it. I didn't even know how to come at it. I almost got it with BKM because obviously you're trying to stop Bane from ever making one single turn. Dude, it just deletes your team.
So what is the team? Can you go through that? Then?
Oh, he can show it on his thing. So it's Bane.
Sure, right? I absolutely can.
Yeah. It's what stopped me, and I showed tasks of it. So it's Bane lead, it's Savage, it's Treya, it's LV, and it's Talon.
Which round are we talking about? 3?
Round 3. Round 3. You want to? It's not going to show the new season, so this is still the last one. You want to go to GAC history and update. But yeah, it's just this is the coolest team, and if you can afford it, like Trav 100% earned his win because he put a really heavy board. But you go to the defense, and dude, you can't unless you have SOK or JMK or anything else. Aesop is such a bastard for this, but it's so cool that the high risk, high reward, because you don't know what you're doing with LV, right? Well, you can't take a Treya team because LV's there to stop the whole Treya setup. And I tried Treya. I tried a whole bunch of things because I used SOK, I used JMK, and I used Bane. So it's like, what am I going to do? And that team it eats up all pieces. If you don't have the right thing, you auto lose because they're so lined up. Bane will take his turn. You can't kill because of Talon. It's there to stop it. You can't. So if you don't have a right thing.
So as a meta matchup, then you're saying basically you need Slacker or what? What else is capable of really taking this on?
Bane will take that out.
Okay.
A Bane setup where you have a Bane and another, like the 2 character doing the rule of 2.
Yeah.
It's gonna beat that. It's you're not stopping that. If you have an SOK is gonna. It's just like because it's the whole setup of taking the first turn. It doesn't matter. SOK just will delete that. JMK. So you need key meta teams to be able to take this.
And JMK.
The minute you've gone to off meta, the minute you have tried an off meta thing, Bane your team just disappears because he's going to open up to stop your cooldown, and then he's going to swipe you. That swipe, it's like a ticking time bomb of what Nihilus would do, right? But now it's a 2-turn. And if it's got the same thing, like if you go look at his Datacron, it was like 90% health. So his Bane was even worse. It's even more terrifying.
Oh my god, 99.6.
Yeah.
That is cursed.
But to me, this was the coolest thing I've seen.
Oh yeah, and it's the max health damage on debuff level 6 with Lord Vader in the mix and all that. Yeah, that is.
Now tie it into what he's doing and how his actual lead is still in effect, dude. It is awesome. So it's like props to Trav, props to Aesop because I'd never faced anything like this. And he put such a heavy defense where it was, if he lost in the right thing, I got him. And I knew we were going to go, but I've never seen anything like this. And it's if you can afford it, this team, I don't know what you're doing if you've pulled the right stuff. And as you can see, you're putting JMK, you're putting Gungans, you're putting Queen Amidala, you're pulling all of the stuff that you would need for this team. I had no answer. Coolest team I've seen in a concept where it's like, oh, it's just Bane. It's like, yeah, but it's Bane on a Banecron.
Interesting.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, that is a new meta matchup, so I really appreciate you highlighting that. Let's turn to Gungans. As far as like new lessons learned this week, I can say that like Slacker works against the level 9 Jar Jar. Okay, but that blind coming out all the time from the boss and ass level 9 is forbidding. At least that's been my experience. Like I got absolutely nowhere near getting down that first generator with my full Slacker team, and that's with First Order Special Forces Kron. So I had maximum discretion to go after that generator. Always open to the possibility I bungled something, but like it was not close. All right. How about you guys? About boss and ass?
Yeah, so I faced this was for the fifth straight season. I think it was. I only had one real match, but in that match, I faced a Jar Jar Kron, which I had been feeling pretty comfortable using BKM against Jar Jar, but not against Boss Nass. BKM still struggled, was blown out. Paz actually like maybe got one turn, and then once Paz fell, it was sort of lights out for the team. And then went with Leia, like it was a full back out, so like I ended up with having to take Leia against it. So no Boss Nass Kron, but I did sort of. I destroyed my previous comfort level with BKM against the Jar Jar Kron.
Really? So
Yeah.
So, what are the limitations of that BKM? I thought, isn't that, isn't the harder Kron proven to be nastier in 5 versus 5? I guess if you're gonna get something on the sly, like if you're gonna be able to tray a Gungans, it's gonna be that, you know, that's what we really should get out to the people is like Slacker against level 9 Jar Jar, yay. Against Boss and Ass level 9, nay.
No. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so I'm not that deeply enough and don't have the data points to sort of see where the fork is in the road.
No, that's fair.
Stats really feel like a big thing for that Kron, right? Because I think you have to take that into account as well, because what damage you're adding in based on the setup, I really feel like those still have key factors. Boss Nass or Jar Jar excluding, if you've got the right stuff, you have to take proper teams. And proper teams are still going to be the keys, SLKs, JMKs, doing all of these pieces. Those really give way to where it's at and what it's going to be able to do. You don't get to just take something like Trav had 379% armor pen or something like that. Trav built his Krons, and so I'm fighting also not just what the level 9 is doing, but also the stat on the Kron and the build of the characters are really going to have that impact. And when you just over dumped the amount of stats into your things, even a basic character can have huge impact. So that's where it's like, for me, I put some good stuff on my Jar Jar one. And it's 200 something armor pen has got that. It'll be able to hold more things. But I just looked at like what Trav used on mine. He was able to use Leia. But he also took 55% offense on the team. So the amount of punch on that team is going to be able to drop things quicker if it can survive. So it's like these pieces also have a factor, in my opinion, of what you're going to have to deal with.
Fair. Yeah, I know people have been able to use Treya to beat the Jar Jar level. Or no, wait, I think it's the Nass level 9. I think it actually does okay against, because what do they care about getting blinded, right? Yeah, but I have it sorted up here on screen in case you guys haven't noticed. I see that.
Yeah.
I see Inquisitors is actually slightly worse than Leia this last week with a comparable number of attempts. So this is assuming Kyber 1, minimum relic of 7, having all 3 Omicrons on your Jar Jar. That's about it. And these are the kind of results we're seeing. So Treya looks really poor. Yep, Bane's a slam dunk. Interesting that it's 3% better doing Leia, like 3% better win rate, having Old Ben and Mon Mothma than going with Jin and Radis. I do think that's interesting. JML is Garbo.
Do you have a Datacon set on that? Is that Boss Nass or Jar Jar? Or
I'm sorry. Sorry. Duh. I set it for Boss Nass level 9. I figured that was the tougher way to go.
Is it though? I get you at the 10 things. I think honestly, and again, I'll keep saying that is like, they're different fights. Don't get me wrong, but if your stats are better on one than the other, I think that's going to impact what counter's going to do what.
Well, first of all, yeah, I didn't have a good Boss Nascron for week 1. For week 2, I did, and I used it, and I thought it was cool. I agree with you completely. Like if you have one of each, and one of them has great stats, and the other one has garbage, use the one that's got the good stats. That would probably be a better way to go, regardless, because the damage coming out of the characters is really significant. The offense. Like, the fact that there's offense on their Kron, and then there's 30% offense baked into NASA's leadership, and then individual attackers have their own offense modifiers on top of that, definitely lead into the good stats. So, fully agree with you. about that, TJ. Just all else being equal, as a defensive team for me though, or as a team that I'm coming up against, rather, like I find the NAS to have been much more difficult in 5 versus 5. And so that's why I sorted it on here, just to see kind of how people were dealing with it. I guess, dig this. Riva, with so I see that Ninth Sister's here, so almost overwhelmingly we'd be seeing that Ninth Cron. Right. Yeah, this is a slam dunk against the NAS. Makes sense. You'd be able to get rid of the blinds. So you'd want to time that. Yeah. You'd want to time when you do the cleanse.
But also, she revives.
Yes, but that wouldn't save your sides from getting hosed if they were still taking like a meaningful number of turns. Like these guys are closing out the fight generally in under 2 minutes. This one went on a while. But we
got to remember how much health and protection they also have on top of a dark side Cron.
It's true.
So that level 9 holds a lot of weight, which makes perfect sense. That with the 9th, your team is just that much stronger, right? Yeah. And obviously, it's not a damage thing because you've really taken out 8th that does it. So it's like those pieces, in my opinion, and the level 6 being able to assist and getting more things of what's going on. So it's like, yeah, the overall is overwhelmingly that it's going to be able to do more things and sit around a lot longer, depending on what's happening, right? Because you get to cleanse timely, you get to do all of that.
Dig this. Look at this. With Krex and Old Ben, 100% on 7 attempts. What's that about? Decent GPs involved. Long fight, though. 4 minutes, 30 seconds, 4 minutes 29, 4, 3.5, 3, 4 minutes 53. Jeez. Okay, so, I mean, if you're fighting all Relic 8 or Relic 9, like some of the guys in the very top reaches, yeah, this is one that this one went every bit of 4 minutes. Okay, so it's not too untenable.
I would say, think about what you're trying to do, right? So you have one dude who's going to daze you, and then you have one guy who's going to run the potency check but remove turn meter and ability block you. So you're in on the fight getting to do it, and Krex does get to take a lot of turns, so it kind of tracks on what you're doing. But you see one thing that's consistent? I would ask if it's doing the Galactic Republic, is it doing ability block? Because we've heard about that. And that can hold weight with R2 on trying to keep the fight stopped, so Jar Jar's not getting to go to do his little funky shenanigans. Same thing for Boss Nass, who's going to try to mess with your team as well. So it tracks, man. It makes sense because you're disrupting the team long enough that you're getting in between and being able to do a lot of stuff and being able to hold them down because Krex is great, man. That dude is a monster.
Okay. Well, any other insights you guys had to share about fighting Gungans this week?
They're still scary.
God knows, yeah. That was the only thing I potentially got jammed on. I ended up wiping out on a first attempt and preloading. Went back in with BCAM and was able to hack and slash it down to bits. And then I think I finished it on that second go. But if I didn't, it was just an easy cleanup on the third. But yes, very scary. And I think, how many of your opponents started moving some of these premier matchups to the back wall because they knew that you were waiting for it, right?
I don't think I had that happen.
Okay.
I can't ask Sasha. Sasha lives in a world of he's by himself, so I don't get to talk to Sasha
he's
about
a very
this.
lonely man. Him and the Erodiums and one other guy.
Yep. He doesn't live the world we live. Back to fights. He just walks in and just gets free stuff, so it's fine.
Yeah, I guess we should have mentioned a little earlier. I forgot to have us mention. I did sweep the week. I went 3-0. I had 2 real matchups and then an Erodium in the end because I had a complete meme bracket. Literally half my bracket was Erodiums, so they just fought each other for the first 2 rounds, and I got to fight the bestest Erodium of them all. So
that's pretty funny. Next week, though.
But I just laugh at it. The inverse is that you fought real fights to get an Erodium round 3. Which to me, it's like the opposite of what you would see.
It's peak memery. This is just a meme now.
It speaks to the problem, but it's like that's not what you would think you'd be seeing. For my championship round, who do I have? I have this fight.
Okay, well, next meta matchup, let's talk about Queen Amidala. We can't get too far without talking about her. So how'd you guys tackle her in week 2?
I want to understand. I want to understand. Is it so much of a meta when we're doing that right now, where 75% of your stuff can be gassed on what it's doing, and then it's like it's almost worth it to take the chance on dropping it with the gas. I would like to know what the numbers look like on that, right? Because I think a lot of people have it, and I'll tell you the one thing I didn't really see: gas. Gas is gone, all but because it's like, unlike Gungans, you don't get to come out and say anything towards Gungans. Gungans are monsters. They are still, you are absolutely bounded, right? But it's like, is Queen Amidala, I really feel like it's like you're holding your gas because this is what it's going to do, right? And I think the numbers show it. So I'd like to know what it looks like if you want to pull it to see how much gas is taking out the queens.
Well, yeah, I'll pull that right now because I'll tell you this much. I was having a discussion with folks on Discord this morning, and basically somebody had filtered out the data to see that I want to say with Qui-Gon and no, hold on. Who was it? It was GK and who? GK and Zaris, or GK and Cam. But GK in there, giving that crit immunity out, seemed to be really impeding gas. So let's sort this data out and have a look.
So that was my experience. I used gas, just kind of for fun. This is up against Zid. I wanted to see how it would work. And he set GK and Zaris. I had what I thought was a pretty good gas comp. I had not tried gas before, so I was a good gas cron. I should say was the damage reduction Galactic Republic, but it has 266% armor pen, and it just could not make progress.
So there it is. There's the death knell. Yeah. Now there's only 3 battles in all of Kyber 1 that are gas 501st versus Queen Amidala with Relic 7 or higher, having Queen Amidala, Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon, and GK. I didn't even filter on a 5th. So I sorted Division 1 Kyber. Ooh, I even put on Defense Minimum Relic of 6. I missed the keystroke instead of 7. And then I put on the 369 that you expect is the best one. So you got the Bulk 3. Damage Reduction 6 is proven to be more difficult to get through. And then Padawan Obi-Wan 9. And yeah, on 3 attempts, goose eggs, brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Having been one of those 3, it was not dangerously close to 1 out of 3.
This is where I would take the premise to know. Obviously, you're talking about Sasha, right? But I also want to comment. You're talking about Sasha. So when Sasha says, "I tried this and it failed," you take notice, right? It's not to be a dick. It's like, if this average Joe goes in, because Sasha's facing the best when he's actually facing a fight. Tass is saying something, and if it goes, so where it's like, I would hazard everybody, listen and take heed to what you're hearing, because like me, I'm taking notes. Because the answer, what you're doing when you're fighting Queen, is how do I stop gas? How do I make you fork what you're trying to do? And that's what this is doing. So it's like, for everybody who gets to hear it, take notice of what they're saying, because that to me is a real big piece of why you listen to this, because I'm taking notes. Yeah. I guarantee, I'm going through as we're talking, I'm going through my defense and adjusting my stuff now, because I know now you don't get to gas this. And if I've taken away a easy counter, yeah, you can use gas somewhere else, but now you have to use an actual team on Queen, because while she is not like Gungans, that is still like, you still respect her name. You still get to respect her authority.
Very fair. Very fair. Yeah, this looks like it cooks gas, and I know that I was successful with it. I only had 2 opportunities to use it, but one of them I was successful for 57 banners. It was never going to be pretty, but I was impressed that it did get the job done. This looks like that crit immunity is the end of the line for you, buddy. Which is impressive, right? Because that's another buff to feed into the gas offense stacking machine, and even so, it doesn't save you.
The only thing I'll say is, like, there may be room for some RNG with it. It's not a counter I want to take again. Like what we went through. It's just
I think that's my point. Minute I prepared you for doing, and it's like, I looked. One of my holds where I got my win is actually my round opponent was him trying gas and it failing miserably. Mine on Trab, I failed, but I failed because I got into a loop with Queen, but it was just Queen alive. So it was gas and Queen alive. So because it was set up like that, I kill her, she gets into damage immunity, and then so it's like, but I had the fight done, and now I can just take whatever I want on Queen, right? Greenleaf, who I fought round 1, that was his setup on my Queen, and he only person to kill was Pow. So that means I still had a full team that was left there. And I swapped my builds around on my Master Qui-Gon. So we've talked about it before, and I think Fatal talked about it. So I built him in a CD damage set. He had 47% crit, like special crit chance, and like 10-5 or 10-6 special damage. So he slaps by himself, if anybody doesn't know. So it held, and that's literally how I got my win, was because that gas, you couldn't do it. So the minute it fails, you're in a whirlwind of hurt. So.
Fair. So as far as what you're going to do to get through this Queen Amidala, if somebody does set it on you with this GK in here, it looks like your options are limited to Slacker, JMK, and Bane. And Bane is the worst of the 3, by the way.
Shocking.
Bane being the worst of the 3 does shock me a little bit. But
was Reva up there?
Reva is not, in fact, represented. No, she has one attempt, and it was. But this is. It looks like they used the 9th Cron, which is probably the way I would go. And yeah, no, that was 2.5 minutes of not gonna work.
That's cool, Beck. Dude, the idea of where I am excited to see what's going to turn into.
Dig that. That Beck is spicy. I used him in the raid team today, and that mass assist with all these Galactic Republics.
That's so cool. And don't forget the savior mechanic. So it's like, don't forget. That too, that's what I said. So it's like watching Beck when Beck Cron goes away.
Yeah,
dude, that is such a cool idea. I didn't even think about putting Beck on there, but it's like, yeah, that's going to be rough.
Completely fair. Yeah. All right, well, that was good. That was a good discussion point. All right, who you guys want to dive into next? There's still a couple more. Who you want?
I would ask from the different standpoint. We've talked about the one that was super cool with Trav. Is there really anything else out there? You know what? I'll give you one for Trav. It's the leftover resistance team. That got me 3 holds.
Well, we're not talking about what was good for you on defense yet.
No. I'm saying for a meta. No, I'm saying for a meta team. Because you use your resources, right? And the one thing that's left over, and I'll comment out, and I think we've talked about it before, and I know you did it, and I know you faced it, is when you have if you put the Ray with the bros, you know what you stop, but having that leftover resistance team is still a menace with that tenacity. While it's here for this last week, it's what it pulls on your resources is not nothing.
Well, what did you use with the team
I tried to use Night Sisters thinking it was going to be okay and got literally obliterated. I tried to do a couple other things, and I watched, if you look at mine, Trav was trying other things and had to take a meta team. So it's the lack of resources where I pulled nothing teams. I actually had to take my GG stab still when I was trying to do it, but he held for 3. And this was a bottom front because you just can't take nothing. So you're trying to do.
I like that bottom front because if you're going to try and go cheap on
it was your idea, right? This is why I call. This is why I'm saying it's like the Datacron is still intact and Zori is still a monster, and you're just putting stuff with it, and you have to still respect the team because that cheese will fuck you up, and that's what happened to me. Where I was like, I'm going to try to keep GG Stap just in case Leia was there or something else, and they take you out so quick and so fast with the turn meter that's going through that you just can't recover. And there's no holdo on the team. It was just having just that level 6 with that with the setup. And I took Finn. And the thing, and watching Trav actually take literal meta teams, and it's like you can't disrespect it. Still so it's like I would call the DC the meta. And that's where it still has weight, where it's like, yeah, if you want to put the bros with Ray, that's cool, seeing that you have to take a meta team on something that's, in my opinion, cheap because you're just throwing junk on the table, and then it's sticking to where it's like, yeah, I'll still respect you, or I'm going to lose a lot.
All right, that makes sense. I'll be sure to talk about that later. I'll keep that in mind for a little later. All right, that was a good meta matchup, but what am I missing here? Yeah, Slacker, I'm not messing around because I didn't remob my JML, so that's pretty much just been Bane set for me. Trying to see if there was anything else.
Anything new for you guys on like facing GMK Cat Padme squads? The one with JKA as well. I faced one of them. I used Bane Set again. I will say I have one learning out of it. It was successful. I got a 64.
Yeah.
But it was successful because I was lucky. You know, I think in the past I've mentioned how enthusiastic I was for that counter, going, "Oh yeah, don't worry about Cat because Bane gets a bonus turn at the beginning and it's just increasing cooldowns. You continually do that. It's no worries." The issue is, as I found, you can end up, if it takes you long enough to kill Cat, that eventually JMK gets his cooldown increase or cooldown reset special off, his last special, puts it on Cat, and if Cat goes before you get to go again to increase, she leaps. I got ridiculously lucky and she happened to leap on the summon. She leapt on the red. But if that's not the case, like that's a very losable battle, and I got to see how it's losable, but I was lucky with it. I don't know if you guys had found anything else that works well on that team or any other thoughts, because that JMK with the Padme Kron and JK and everything is rough.
When you say well, I don't know, like for banner efficiency, no, but like Slacker with FOSF, being able to stab Cat and keep her on lock, it gets the job done. Yeah. It gets a bit sloppy.
I would be scared of that, and I faced it when. Okay, so I'm going to go two different ways. When you have the JKA on there, I think it's so cool, and I've watched Kiowa and I've watched Xerath, and I know there's ways to do it. Being able to take LV with Inquisitors and Maul, and that having weight because you get to go in on JMK is pretty cool. Because there's not a lot going on. I will tell you, when JKA is on that team and you're trying to do SLK with the Special Forces, it gets kind of scary because the added damage of what's going on there, and you're trying to control the fight, that felt very wishy-washy as well, I'll put it.
It was losable, basically.
Right there, yes. It doesn't stop, and I know there hasn't really been talk of it. If you can combine it, it's almost, I don't know how it's not an auto win if you know how you're doing it. See Bane almost at all points. Right now, see Bane with the Bane Kron just makes JMK poopies, in my opinion. It's heavy. It's a heavy use.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not, but it's like, one, when it's here with the level 6, if you have bypass taunt, well, you get to tag whoever you want. So you get to lock it down. And then don't forget, you do the cooldown reduction.
And this is the only team comp, if you're looking on screen, Barator used C Bane as the only opponent I've faced so far that has one-shot this JMK with my extra slim mace so that he's set up to assist. And,
makes sense.
And as far as fighting JMK goes, another thing is like everybody's got these screaming fast cats, right? If you've got it set up that you've got mace, late in the turn order or late in the position order on the squad screen, and also the slimmest member, like you can have your JMK third targeting their JMK. Ahsoka gets called, dispels any buffs they have. Mace gets called, ability blocks JMK. And now their JMK doesn't get to third their cat, even though their cat's faster than your cat. Your cat deletes their cat. You target their Padme, throw it on auto. Like that's how I've been doing it when I've had to fight that out. So JMK mirror and I guess C Bane look like ways to handle it. You could either have the faster cat or the faster JMK, but the faster JMK route requires the mace trick.
I also think that's a pretty heavy. That's honestly at our level.
For me, that's a heavy ass commit to make Mace.
It's a hard. Yours is R9
now.
Though, and I don't think people understand. Like I keep bringing this up. Like the commit you have to make to try to make this work is well worth that. For your respect, if I see it up and I can get like math out that Mace is the weakest, I'm not even going to try the setup because the chance for failure is high. C Bane will just eliminate that whole problem because you get to bypass any taunt. You get to link who you want, so you're gonna link the damage dealers. And your situation, Sasha, it's just you link Cat and you link JKA, and then there goes the damage. Well, that was nice. And then you just wait it out and finish the fight, and it's still a 68. So it's like, it's going to be the same thing. But like I said, TAS is the ultimate. If you can make that work and you've committed, then it 100% goes down, because I don't care what you're trying to do. Especially if your JMK is the faster one getting to play the fight out, you just don't get to play. It's the risk is so high, and the fail rate is also so high.
Yeah,
because you're just set to a point of it's bad.
And you remember week 1, people were, to keep talking about fighting this JMK setup, people were talking the gospel of Bane Malik, right? I watched a couple streamers eat it.
Because they're trying to put Malik, which is a higher priority. You're trying to put something that's a higher priority than Bane, but Bane is still such a high priority for the AI. You've really got to play that game, right? It's the same thing if Cat is on the team, and you go play 100 out of 100 matches of JMK Cat versus JMK Cat. If they're faster, go watch how many times your Cat gets nuked. Yeah, you're going to get some where it doesn't, but 9 times out of 10. So to Tass's point, it's like it's not worth the risk of losing your Bane on a key team where C just nullifies, in my opinion, all of the problems that go with it.
Hey, dig this. Look at this. So pure knights, pure first order, like what I was describing to you, Sasha, looks like the win rates are 76, 77%, something like that.
You give them some Night Sister friends.
Yeah, with Night Sisters baked in, which we're not having a lot of use elsewhere. There's more people doing it big than not. Why are these people losing? What's going on here? So you had Slim Relics, and this was a JKA comp. Note that difference. That's a difference. All
what
of
is
these
the point
seem to
of
be JKA.
what is the Hux? What I don't understand the Hux.
No, I don't either. But
I get what they're thinking, and I get it's a support.
It's
and
just to have. I mean, it's to have the swap and also the mass assist cleanse. The mass assist and offensive cleanse is nice. Yeah.
You could easily do Fu.
But that's just a turn swap. There is no offensive mass assist and cleanse. Like AoE enemy cleanse. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't understand. I guess. Yeah, but that's also a very flimsy team on what I would hazard was probably going to be some pretty big damage buildup.
Well, I'll just note that where this is losing, I checked. I didn't check off a 5th member, right? I put on Ahsoka, Kat, and Padme. Put on the Padme Cron. Assume that you have the prod up level 6. And then I left the last slot open. So we're seeing data with GK here in the mix, or JKA. And it looks like there's, most of this looks like it comes down to having too slim a relics. Like your stuff just doesn't hold up long enough. For you to get your ramp going, I guess, because that's like 1 minute and 38, less than a minute. Some of these people are getting closed out. But there was still, 3 out of 4 was winning this, basically. And these kind of slim, too. So I think there's probably a degree of skillful management that's going on here. Because some of these relics are pretty slim here. Yeah, and it's also going kind of long, right? 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes 45. So there's an element of risk there, but it's doable. A lot of slacker win rates look terrible though. Outside of that, 4% win rate for JML. I want to say it was under 1% win rate for Riva. So we get out into the boonies real quick here.
You basically, I don't know for the Riva. I guess you just have to drop 7th because every time you're taking that, and that to me is a big no-no.
Well, it doesn't matter. There's no merit in thinking about it because it's poop.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess you have 80% win rate on 5 attempts with using Bane in there. So if you would like to concentrate your Bane into your Riva, you too can have an 80% win rate of getting 59.5 banners, right?
It's the power of 1 plus a whole bunch of Inquisitors.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I want nothing to do with that counter, actually.
It's like, let me combine 2 great teams. It could be 3 great teams or 4, and it's like, that'll take out the 1 super team.
Yep. So, we covered Queen. I think that's it, right? Gungans, Queen, JMK. Who am I missing? People are moving those around. Those are pretty much the big ones. Anyone else you guys wanted to highlight?
No, I think that
team-wise
touches the key ones in terms of the big, meaty, intimidating squads I was seeing out there.
Very good, very good. Okay, guys, let's rotate into segment 2, our offensive gambles. So what was your attack of the week that, it might have panned out. It might not have panned out, but it really stuck out to you. You found it really interesting. How about you, Sasha? Let's start with you.
Yeah, I'd say number one for me was I was pushing the Phoenix versus Riva. I was going against Riva that had Ninth Sister in it, really good Kron, and I still wanted
Phoenix. I think I got you on screen here, yeah.
Yeah, and it really smooth, smooth.
And that's with the GBA. How critical do you feel the GBA was to that?
Very. So I think so I believe the way that works is the Inquisitors will put, you can have 6 stacks of Purge on everything except your Summon. The Summon, I think, has 5. And the Summon is the tank, and, with the pre-taunt tank. So when GI is using, I believe it's that third ability, if the target has 6 stacks of Purge, it gives tenacity up to the entire Inquisitor team. Because the Brute summoned by GBA only has 5, there's no tenacity up, and you're landing stagger all over the place. You're landing, all the goodness for that Phoenix assault, and was able to just keep running and running and running. I think the numbers are pretty significantly different if you don't use GBA as the 5th there. You have enough DPS. It is a timeout risk. You want to move pretty quickly, but it's
4 minutes,
it's doable.
28 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, and that's with like a...
You had a pretty serious Kron, too. Yeah, 193% armor penetration, 20% offense, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now that's, I think, is that an entirely R9 squad? I can't see it on your screen.
It is. The enemy squad was entirely R9, so...
Yeah, they're thick. They're tough. And they get that added benefit of Ninth Sister's level 9 Datacron. But point being, it's doable. It's doable.
Well, that's really insightful about taking advantage of the fact that the 6 stacks of Purge going out at the fight, that 6th stack or that first stack, whichever it is going out onto the team before Brute is summoned. That is really neat. And I was thinking, it's like, if that happened and they get the tenacity up, Phoenix has very little, answer to that. They don't have like an AoE group dispel. But then I was thinking, wow, that's a second reason Brute or GBA is great here, right? That AoE buff dispel would be great regardless. So that's a smart use. I really like that. Well done. All right, TJ, how about you? Your gamble of the week. Let's hear it.
I'll call it pretty consistent, too. I took Xeris' idea. Star Killer on Jabba. I've really taken to trying to make that a thing because Jabba stays on defense for pretty much everybody.
Did I close your tab? Hold on. Let me open up your tab
maybe.
again.
It's that was my... I think my biggest one where I've been playing with it, even to the point where against Trav's comp, which was a strong one.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, which matchup do we want to zoom in on for that?
You can pick either one you want. It's like Star Killer was my success for everything where I was trying it to make it work versus Jabba. I needed a place to use him and being able to.
I'm sorry, what was the matchup I'm looking
Round
at?
3's fine. Round 3's fine.
The Star Killer versus Jabba. Yeah, tell us about that. A bunch of content creators were talking about that the last week. I didn't do this myself.
I've done it since I watched Xerath do it, and I finally got an idea of how to work the fight and play it out. Even to the tenacity up, right? So he's put 4 dark side characters on the team, and I will say on the Jabba fight, it killed my Star Killer, but I was able to bring Star Killer back because of Visas. So timed out, luckily in my favor.
So it wasn't the eat that got him; he just got blown up. Old stuff.
Nope, he got blown out, so I was able to bring him back. She had enough health where I was able to bring her back to 100%. He was back, so I had all 5 characters, got the win. I would say go watch Xerath stuff. It gives a good start to the fight and how you're trying to play it. But being able to target and hit the shocks is a very big piece to the success. Some go longer than others. Obviously, I'm playing people that are super bulky. They have really good setups. They do all these things. Mm-hmm. But once you get the ball rolling, it's pretty solid, man. Like I said, it's not going to be the best of banners, but being able to find a place for Star Killer against the GL, chef kiss.
That's interesting. Now, do you have knowledge that this works against set 15, like Dark Side Kron and all that?
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter because you're playing it out fast enough that you're. If you do the Dark Side one, guess what happens to your Bouch?
Yeah, she's generally clumsy. Yeah.
there's nothing left for her to work on. I've worked it on light, I've worked it on dark, I've worked it on this one, which was smarter. The idea, the 4 characters, with the tenacity up. But the fact that you get to go out and as long as everything lands, I watched Zara's thing. The being able to get the setup to where you start with third and then you open with second. And if it hits correctly, because not everybody's got tenacity built, and I can talk about it now because we're already locked in. If you're not super high in tenacity, you're going to land your third. That's going to set you up. You're going to land your second. There goes all your turn meter, and now you're out in the front. The idea is leave the shocks where you can and start playing with the fight.
Well, there it is. This answers my question right here from your round 1 where you used it successfully. This enemy Kron was dark side, bulk, 69% crit damage, about 80% armor penetration. And you were close to a timeout. And granted, you were like 59 and 60 banners respectively, but it still got the job done.
I don't have to worry about a Jabba though. And Jabba still, it's either a 2-shot or this is an okay. I'll take 5 banners off. Like if I'm going to get 60, I can get 62 or higher, but I 1-shot your Jabba, and I'm using Star Killer for something that's other than I don't care, second rate or third rate team.
I will say,
and it feels.
Well, first of all, really nice use on this. I will say honorable mention, though, to my patron Striker. We had that one round last week where I streamed his fight, and he used Mother Tal's and Night Sisters Underman, just left Zombie on the bench. Played it perfectly. Had everybody but Marin dead. Rode everybody out into the sunset. Ended up getting another 2 sisters revived in the end. Something like a 62 or something. Like ridiculous for having it just ride the rails like that.
Your chance to make that work is so
rare.
slim. It is. If so you are break in case of emergency, but this feels very reliable, solid. Yeah. This feels good if you know what you're doing during the fight and you're playing. Like I said, I got to watch. I'll keep prefacing Zareth that really started my idea for what I was doing. I play some of the stuff different, but his baseline got me to the point of the success where it's like, oh, I'm going to try this and see if it works. And once you get in there, it's a very fluid fight. As you see, it can go a long time, but it can go. And once you're ahead, if you're doing it correctly, it locks it down, man. And he just falls.
I like that. Now, the Plo's important because once you got the shock down on Chrysanthemum, he won't get his taunt back when you hit it with Plo's basic, right? You're able to move around him.
You want the dispel. You want to be able to do... Yeah, so it's like you want that dispel. And also, 9 times out of 10, your Plos are generally slow. So it's sitting there, just sitting there taking all the stuff while you're out to the races trying to make it work. Yeah, it feels really solid. I know it was talk where Zara said something about Visas not being great because it probably doesn't going to help. I needed that Visas. So I would just say rebuild if you were going to do something like this. Obviously,
he's probably going to advocate for something like putting some prod on her, so she's just less vulnerable.
She has to be
thermal.
You really need her to be bulky as possible on top of what's happening because you want her to come back. Like I would have lost my fight easily against Travs because of the fact they were killing it. I was going to kill everybody, don't get me wrong, because it's really EP that's doing all of the work on the team and just bringing them down, dude. He's just nailing them with those shocks. But yeah, that Visas was super strong. So it would be just increase her stuff, give her some good stats to make sure she can take the damage of what's going to happen, and then just you're off to the races.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Well, for my own part, let's see. My favorite attack was, or my gamble, where are you? That wasn't it. Yeah, it was this one. It was BKM into a preloaded Boss Nass with the Nascron, right? So, you've only got a couple means of dispelling your dudes, and we got locked down forever. I can't tell you how painful it is to just sit there and feel 30 seconds go by before you get to make an input. But the fact that this works, she's felt out of place for me most of this season. And I've sometimes toyed with, compared to some of the other B teams I'm thinking about setting down, wonder if I just set BKM. And this makes me feel really rewarded for choosing to keep her. So I wanted to point this out because coming off of a bad preload, because it was a fight just above it. Where did I bomb out? Yeah, I took in Slacker. Guys, this was just no bueno at all. Like, just locked down, blind on us, never getting to land anything.
You were streaming this, right, Tess?
Oh yeah, this horror show
Yeah,
is back
I
in the
watched
VOD.
that. It was painful.
It
It was
was
really painful to see you going through that.
it was terrible. And then, I mean, you remember,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, that might be the end of the match right there, guys.
Yeah.
Because I had BKM and Leia left to throw at it, but I was like, I was just about to pull the trigger on doing Leia, but I'm thinking, this seems like the kind of thing where I usually shoot myself in the foot trying to, deciding between using the lesser team and the greater team first on a cleanup. It's like, I should use the lesser team first, and then if I make any progress at all, the greater team would have the best chance of cleaning up that remainder. So that's the way I chose to play it this time. So I pulled Leia out of the attack window, threw in BKM, and but for the grace of God, we got through in 4 minutes and 46 seconds. But I didn't end up needing Leia to clean up, although I could have. All right,
Do
guys.
you ever consider, I know you have the PC beta and you don't use it for your streams, but my impression, I could be wrong, is that it plays a ton faster.
Dig this. I'm thinking I'm almost done with those times, because I don't know if you're looking at it in OBS right now. This is the PC beta I have on screen. It runs super smooth, but it's a little dull. Do you see that? You see how it's a little shaded?
Yeah, a little.
And now when I go into Fleet, it's outright grayed out. So I think that's a technical issue in the beta itself. Because it doesn't necessarily look so bad in OBS, compared to the game. The game's about the same. So it's like the OBS is doing what it can here. So I don't know. The colors, the color fidelity's a little lost, and I'm gonna look and try to tweak it. But I think I'm going to try and run this from here forward on the stream. People have been clamoring for it. I'm tired of using BlueStacks just for streaming because I'm always on this off stream anyway. So as long as the complaints aren't too loud about the loss of color, we'll make it work. Yeah.
Yep. It feels like that could be a difference maker on some of those.
For your fight, Tass, I don't think I got to see the cleanup. It's cool to see when it comes to Gungans, because like I said, they're monsters as it is.
Yeah.
How well do you think the cooldowns were placed? Did it feel like a cooldown pool? Is almost what I want to say when you had to go back.
They certainly didn't have everything, and I guess the actual lineup of them for the way that the bonus turns and the turn meter flies around on that team, the spring-loaded trap is only properly loaded, that first time, right?
That's why I wonder.
Then
right?
Surely they had some cooldowns out of phase, because every time you have two characters go, and you would have a third character go, a Gungan gets to intercede with a bonus turn, right? So it's always getting thrown out of phase with their turn order after that first go. So absolutely, there was a chaos factor of me not having to face all of the cooldowns all at once off rip. But even, I'm not trying to sell this to you like it was a nice, pretty thing in a bow, right?
This is amazing.
It was 4 minutes and 46 seconds of me swearing.
I don't think people understand, though. Getting to two-shot this, right, something fails, and then getting a reliable setup is in itself, at this phase of where we're at, a huge piece. It's like, again, not to do another plug, you need to go watch Tass's VOD on this fight. Because being able to use BKM, which doesn't really... It doesn't hold much stuff, in my opinion. This right here is a big thing where it's like, that's invaluable. To knowing BKM held the potential...
That was the Barator fight, right?
Yeah, it should be your second.
Yeah, that was Barator. Hold on, guys. We don't. You know what? I'll do everybody a solid and try and grab that clip here.
Yeah, because I would say go watch that fight. If you don't watch much things of his VODs, he does a lot of good work. Go watch that fight.
Nah. We're gonna get that up for the people. All right, I've got that. Let me drag it over here and blow it up. Okay, it looks like it's live on. You guys see it?
Yep.
All right, yeah, 4 minutes, 59 seconds, and here we go. You can, I'll try and... No, I guess I'll let it just ride here. We'll chew up a little airtime on it.
So yeah, that would have fucked you up, so that's good. I'm good to see.
So immediately, there's life. Life 1 is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just immediately off rip.
And they've all got immunity.
Now, I look calm.
So that is the gross.
I look calm. I look cool. I look like I'm fine with it. Internally, I'm actually not at all fine with it.
Well, no, because you can't do anything or damage anybody. So no, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, dude. Yeah. See, I decided not to AoE so that they wouldn't all retribution him into non-existence.
Yep.
And he survived a little bit longer. I'll say this, the light side Boltcron put a lot of longevity into this. It did. I had to make the call. Do I do the squat or do I try and cleanse and, maybe hold on to Grogu a little bit longer? I could also have cleansed off Bo-Katan. In the end, I decided to go with the squat. And
You're a madman.
Yeah. I was really praying that they weren't going to blitz somebody down and force Bam to go out ahead of Bo-Katan because you see her turn meter's full. We finally get to target the generator. That's what I said.
Yeah,
this
you
is
go
it.
crazy on that cleanse, yeah.
This is it. If this isn't going to work, nothing's going to work. And boom. So I was sitting here thinking, okay, so is this going to kill the 2 stacks on the generator, then burn through the next 10 from the Nascron? The answer was yes. It did it all and knocked the whole thing out right there.
That's good to know.
So this is, yes. And this is terrifying, by the way. You're like, okay, now that I've got the shield generator down, we should be cool, right? It's like, this is the 3-minute mark. This goes on for another minute,
you're at
almost 2
phase
minutes.
2 of the fight now. There's phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. You're now at phase 2 of the fight. This is just a new fight to fight now.
And this is just going to keep on being a horror show, just so we're clear. I think a great way to get yourself screwed up. Pay attention. See how keeping the Bo-Katan cleanse was clutch to set up removing all of their damage immunity so I could go back in on somebody. I don't think that there's a lot of merit. Like, if you can get, like, a lucky situation like this, where I'm thinking about hitting either Nas or Jar Jar, maybe do that when you're able to call Bo-Katan. Otherwise, other people, I think, probably are going to be just trying to beat down Phalanx until he's gone, because I spent a lot of time getting juggled here, whereas I might have been quicker about it had I just blown through Phalanx. Not that he's easy to go through by any means.
You are definitely playing with the deal with the devil, and who do I kill, right? Because if you get rid of Boss Nash, you get rid of the lead, and that's huge.
That was the
win.
goal. That was what I was saying on stream. It's like, if I can get rid of this
100%
bastard.
agree. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what I was thinking of. But there you go. It's like, okay, that's fine. You hit my Boss Nash. Now go ahead and get stuck on Phalanx for a while. What are you going to do now? The answer was sit there.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so we go for it, do we? I don't think. Yeah, I did do it. Yep. This is it. This is it.
You are just like, dude. I'm watching the horror, so I understand what you were feeling inside fighting the fight. Because I'm watching the horror, right? It's like
maybe this
popcorn.
works. Maybe we don't. Yeah. This is the last moments. You can see the doors closing on me.
Yeah, because it's like a minute left. All right, he's gone.
And we're just losing guys left and right, right?
Yeah. And you got the cleanse now?
I cleansed him so that he'd live a little bit longer, yep.
That's okay.
And you don't need to see. It's okay that Bam is blinded because those birds are landing regardless.
They don't care. But
and there it is. This is it. Glorious. And now I was like, okay, we've definitely been more successful than I had hoped. Do we get to finish the fight on time?
Yeah. It's
we get to finish? And then I just let it ride into the sunset.
Yep, because it was like, you did it.
God. So that's a good one to have highlighted. I appreciate you calling that one out, because
I needed to, because the only thing I saw that didn't happen. So all of the horror shows of watching the start of the fight, and I would say I'm probably going to go watch it 2 and 3 more times. The reason I call this out, you still had a lot of the bad shit happening. He still did his third. Jar Jar still did his third, so turn order was still correct. The only thing you really pulled, in my opinion, that I was looking for was Boss Nass's days. All of the horrors of the fight of what was going to happen. So your Boltcron, 100%. The other thing I'll call out that you need to be aware of when you're fighting with BKM, how paramount actually IG is. And that's the other thing that made it scary to me, is that without your IG, you were going to be in a lot worse trouble. And so for the fact they decided to leave it alone, helped you tremendously, right? Because that was a key cleanse. That was the ability to call and it's like you're also going to daze their team. So it's like, yeah, there's some luck to it, but you still had a pretty shitty opening to have to deal with. And like I said, the only thing you really didn't get hit with was the Boss Nass days or whatever.
Yeah, there were some right moves that basically choosing to risk going for the birds both times with Bam as opposed to doing a cleanse. That was absolutely critical because we were absolutely sunk. But I know we've spent a good amount of time talking about this, and this apparently will work in a pinch. But yeah, I mean, it's for a pinch, we're not trying to say that this is a priceless work of art. I'm not trying to speak to how reliable this is. I'm just saying, look, it can work, and God knows enough people's matches end on Boss Nass if they drop the first time. So, fair enough. Guys, I don't want to chew up too much more of your time. Let's pivot over to the defenses. Back to you, Sasha. Your favorite defense of the week.
Let's see. I did get a bunch of holds. I ended up, the one thing that cost me that match that I lost was getting stuck on a Finn Zori, which is still, even toward the end of its life, is still so unforgiving. But on defenses, my JMK did nicely. I actually got a bunch of holds. I think, let's see, if you scroll down.
It wasn't that round. So round 2, is that what I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he did the no, this wasn't it, because this guy did the pull for Cat, and that was it. So maybe round 1.
Yeah.
No, that was.
Are you at the right week?
Maybe
no, that's
not.
54.
Hold on, let me refresh this.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Go to week 1. Yeah, Brilliant Zid. Yeah, go to that one.
Okay, gotcha.
And on defense. Queen Amidala looks like. And SLK both took. So I put Phasma in with SLK, which I think was helpful. I'm guessing it was at least.
Wow, this Kron you
seemed
got.
To work.
306 armor penetration and almost 19% offense. That's obscene. Dude.
Yeah, it's mean.
It's monstrous.
Really, really mean.
So you think that the Phasma is important for blocking out JML?
I don't know that it is. I think there are a couple of wrinkles I like to throw at JML. This is one of them, is Phasma, in that, and I have it set up so that Phasma basically goes right after Hux, or I had it set up. I can't recall if I got that for this week's lock-in. But so I think that can be painful. I'd also looked at another first order one with Retribution as a 6 instead of the long-winded first order.
Yeah.
So I think that can also be a little bit rough, but this is the regular long text first order one.
Wipe out. So you were talking about.
I will say. So you said JML versus the SOK.
Yeah,
I thought
maybe it wasn't.
I thought the Phasma
homie took out your JMK just fine.
So I'll say I fought. Trav put Phasma on the JML team, but his SOK was too fast. So it's still the rule of if the SLK is too fast and you're under, I was fine fighting that. There was no scary point, and that's that team, right? It's you have to play with the fight, but there's just not enough there. And I took, I want to say, I took the right team, but I did 52 protection. So I did do my, you know what? I did do my JKCK Kron. When I did it, it was fine, but it's that.
Is it triggered like the level 9 for?
I don't remember. I remember my JML was almost dead, and then I worked it back up. But I was able to finesse the fight because if you go look at mine, I killed.
Yeah, we can pivot over to yours. What's the defense?
No, I just want. I just want to call to his point.
Yeah.
Because he was talking what makes it work. It really is the JML being slower than the SLK.
Sure.
If the SLK is slower or the JML slower than the SLK. It's going to be a pretty successful fight if you know what you're doing. You need to play with it. You need to play with your food to make sure because SOK is super scary. But if you can't get Phasma to do anything, she's just another tool that's sitting there. So the pieces are relevant.
That's why I wonder. Because you'd figure Brilliant Zid, that's who he fought. Zid would probably remod to make sure that he'd have that JML set up that way. Did you happen to scout that, Sasha? Did you see if he was set up like... did he have a good position?
I
to
don't
take
know.
on your Slacker?
I don't know going into that one.
No worries, no worries.
So
But
no.
that's
but that's
I
fought
kind of
that
thing I'd
exact
expect
team.
him to not miss.
And I would say we're all guildmates, so I know the stuff's packing, right? The heat's there, and I think his SOK had 261% armor pen. So it was not a nothing. And the minute his SOK touched me, I was gonna hurt. So that to me was
he
the
has
factor.
a slow JML and still lost to the Slacker on Sasha's defense. How fast is your Slacker off the top of your head?
575.
So faster. Good. Yeah.
But I still think, but having your 560 JML, I still think is a key or whatever it's going to be, because you need those turns, right? Yes, it's great that you're slower. I'll say what's scary though. Trav's is 599. So his SOK, so many turns, right? But I needed my JML going was pivotal to play the fight out. I also will say I got his Hux down to a point where I stopped Red from doing his bullshit. So I was able to turn over, kill Red first, and then the turn order was correct for me to be able to kill Hux and not impede my TM of where I was going to gain. Does that make sense? So I stopped the damage that would come from Red because I knew it was going to slap. It was going to be too much for me to take on. So I was able to get the ability block out. Everything was able to land. And then I was able to take out Red and then immediately take out Hux because he was flimsy enough. Phasma never even got to see a turn. And then it was playing with my food once that was done because I was able to kill SLK. So it went Red, Hux, then SLK because I couldn't fuck with that. And then Phasma and Faust. And it was nothing. But yeah, it got super close from where the hit was. But I still think it's pivotal that you need your turn order to be fast or well enough for that to really still fly off. So I could see if you were 520 or something, you're really slow in your JML, that may be not enough time for you to be able to take that pivotal turn and you're just dead. So I'd like to hear what Zid has to say because we can ask him. But yeah, that was my experience. Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, let's go ahead and move on to your favorite defense of the week, TJ.
Dude, it's just going to be funny enough. I'll pick a round 1 or a round 3. It's still Malgus.
Malgus, eh? All right, so
Malgus.
C and set. Oh man. Oh, see, he tried to go cheap on the Kron though. See, he did not put respect on your name. What kind of Kron did you put there?
Oh, I put my good one. I put the money maker.
Yeah. See, look at this. 84% health on that Malgus Kron, and he comes on up in this house with some BS set 14 Kron, 14% health steal.
It's just because you look at Malgus, and we've talked about it, right, Tass? You're splitting your Jedi. You're not respecting the name. I faced the Malgus, and I almost lost mine because I did Afra because it's like trying to play with the fight. But it's like you're not respecting. You're not giving the respect it deserves when it's going through, and then that's what that's going to equal.
I think this is part of it, though. I think it's insightful that you said it without BSF because you had both Sith Marauder as a damage threat and then Sith Assassin to accelerate. And was this a Sith? Yeah, it's a Sith Assassin Kron. So yeah, that would be difficult.
It did my round 1 and my round 3 because against Trav, he tried something and he tried to see, but he gave it more respect. But go look at the result.
I will. There it is. Oh, he went in with Sidious. Okay, maybe I wouldn't call that respectful. He tried though. Damn. Yeah, he withdrew. He I don't know how long the fight was, but it wasn't long. All right, here's another one. Went in with wait, no, that's against the Java. Hold on. He went in now with an old Ben lead Hondo. Yeah, he was going OG with it, and that shit ain't work. 28 seconds, and he decided nah. He withdrew again. Came back in with Fennec. Additional gnaw after a minute and a half.
Well, he did it on purpose. I talked to him about this. So he took a leap of faith to be able to kill Malgus.
Yeah, and
so he could fight the fight.
He did get
that's
Malgus,
what
so
he had to do, and that's what I said. He earned his win, and that's why I am super cool with him getting because he set so heavy of a defense that he said I'm done, and then he got lucky. It's the same thing, but yeah, Malgus do feel
like that.
I will call out one for him that he got a fuck yeah on. He was able to take my Inquisitor, stomped him, and also held well on Trav, but he was able to bring in Vandor and Scoundrels on my Inquisitors, and that was so cool. It's like for because I put Inquisitors with 9th Kron, and he got lucky and was able to piecemeal it down. For somebody who set SLK, JMK, he set Bane to be able to piecemeal like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Nice. All right, guys, let's get to closing this one out. It's a good ride. Your lessons learned, your final thoughts. What do you got for the good people? Your last pearl of wisdom, Sasha.
I guess I would say this is the last week of that incredible resistance datacron, and or set with resistance, and I would one of the things that came out of this show or this episode is like talking about the ability to use just even the scraps of resistance and do a lot with it, or be able to take resistance hero fin and holdo on offense and take out GLs, get the most out of it this week before it disappears. That's one of the things that just kind of strikes me is we have found, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about, there are just still cool potentials left for that. I think we found a ton of them, whether it's spreading across Ray and scraps on D or taking out GLs with a non-GL resistance squad on O. That's one I'm looking forward to this week.
Dig that. Great tip. All right, TJ, how about you? Your last pearl of wisdom.
Dude, I think it's this. I think this conversation we had on the Queen and stopping the gas feels like a very. I can't go back enough to say reiterate that. Look at that, and then
it seems if I can afford just as simple as throwing in GK. I mean, there's other things you could throw in there maybe to further complicate it, but that is the essence of the complication.
That to me is like this. I hope people listen to this full thing because I think there's a lot of wisdom that came out of this, especially this week. Really sucks that Dagger missed it, but man, taking notes, I'm taking my own. Yeah, but it's I'm taking my own notes. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's a really good piece. So it's the QA thing I think is great, and I think you've talked about it. I think positioning right now is huge. How we're going to position our characters this week is going to be a real big part of the fight, and the will they or won't they, what's in the back. What's in the box? What's in the box? I think it plays with what's in the back, and is it there or is it not? And are we going to play with it? So I think that's another big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, good point. Mine, you basically drew me into mine here is the idea that you have week over week. We're talking the same 3 or 4 teams that are defining our meta. And your opponents are paying attention these last 2 weeks now, developing how they want to approach those teams. Look at the history, and you can absolutely make that adjustment to Queen Amidala to impede gas, but also think about how they're going to, when you scout them, you see they prefer to use, X and Y against, 1 and 2. Okay, fine. You can determine the order that they're going to do this depending on how you want to position those teams, if you, I didn't have JMK at all up front on week 1. Now on week 2, I had him up front every time. Now in week 3, somebody looking at that data for week 1 and 2 has no idea what I'm going to do. They have no idea. They know that there could be JMK, there could not be, but whatever meta teams they don't see up front, they have to assume the worst for the back. And there's where your gold lies for tripping people up strategically. This is what we're talking about when the meta is swinging away from efficiency, where actual teams can hold, which means that there's gamesmanship centered around what the composition of the team is, but also where it is placed. So pay attention. Pay close attention to what your opponents got cooked up the last couple of weeks. Aside from that, guys, let's go ahead and start to wrap it up. First of all, thank you guys, of course. It's always challenging putting our time together, but we did get it done. For everybody that's used to watching me live, of course, you'll catch me on twitch.tv/Tassinix. If you are watching this, you're probably on YouTube or Spotify. This also gets broadcast out onto YouTube podcasts. Still working on Apple Podcasts. They're real painful with that. But regardless, this show is on Tassinix Gaming YouTube. I have some other interesting Swugger-related content that you might be wanting to see. Datacron video on set 15. We'll be making a new one for set 16 with Aesop Rock here in the very near future. Of course, my VODs are always uploaded there with chapters added for easy browsing. I put some notes and comments there in the video description about what I learned from each one. And of course, my latest series, which has been really popular with you guys, is my mod guide. So I just started with some, recent release teams and have been working through some popularly requested ones. Just wrapped up Gas 501st today, and we're going to get started here on the Padawan Obi-Wan, because he's the first free-to-play farmable character going along for the Queen Amidala team. But yeah, that's all there on my YouTube. And of course, if you like the cut of my jib and you want to support what we're doing over here, check out my Patreon. Let me go ahead and see that did I actually set that up right this time? I didn't, but we'll catch it next time maybe. All right, check out patreon.com/Tassinix. For any upwardly mobile GAC player, there is something of interest there to you. The $5 tier gets you into the Task House. You get early access to plotting and scheming, my Datacron set videos, and dedicated text and voice chat where you will usually find me lurking. Thank you so much to these members at VIP Access: Andrew, White Wolf, Sam Vimes, Jobin4527, Stark Strategy Gamer, Raise Malbus, Brock Thudsteel, Renee Bebe, Deadpool Cow 28, Johnny B. Ottawa, JJ's Productions Twitch, Sweens 14, Darth QP PMG, and Arj. Jumping up to the $10 tier, at VIP Access Plus, that's the bot bundle that includes the patron access to me and to Omega Bot. So if you watch my streams, it is the the tool that I use to scout out my opponent, get really great concise visuals to understand their offense and defensive tendencies. Can't say enough good about it. Thank you to Stryker. He's one of my patrons that we streamed this last week. So thanks to Stryker and thanks to Esh Sotnikam. Appreciate you guys. And stepping up to the $15 bundle, VIP Access Premium, that gets you Patreon access to me and the double bots. That's Omega Bot and Hot Utils Patreon. If you're not familiar, Hot Utils is the premier tool for mass loadout and inventory management. You can just swap around how every character on your roster is configured mod-wise with just a couple of clicks. It has other functionality too, but for me, that's the most powerful feature by far. Thank you so much to Quig, Ibanek, Sir Boss, Trevor Boy Gaming, and Funky. And then, of course, at the top of the heap, Nomad's Reaper in Jester's Club Elite, by far my most generous supporter over the years, occasionally just pops in on stream, drops hundreds of subs on the community, thousands of biddies. Really appreciate the extraordinary support over the years, man. Thank you. Of course, last but never least, our special thanks first to Yoda Force, one of my earliest supporters, bought me the mic I'm speaking to you on. He has long since quit the game, but we remember him fondly from the other side. To Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for wrangling my curious and rambunctious daughter, who even now wants me to turn the funk music back on because she likes to dance listening to Dad's favorite funk music right next to him. So we'll resume that right after the stream. But during the stream, thank you so much for running interference. To Dagger, TJ, and Sasha Isha, my co-hosts here on Plotting and Scheming. Yeah, it's an incredible show that we're making. It's a value to us. It's a value to our community. We've been getting great feedback, and we appreciate, the support that we get from the community for this. But really, the show wouldn't be anywhere near the quality that it is without these three gentlemen. So my thanks to you guys for always making yourselves available to get this done. All right, swinging back over to the main scene here. Yeah, guys, like Sasha said, this is the last hurrah of set 14. So get in while the getting's good. Enjoy your Bane Cron. Enjoy your Resistance Crons. And yeah, make ready. When we're coming back into the next season of 3 versus 3, you will have had 1 week of Conquest farming Datacron set 16. If you're like in Kyber, if you're used to having to set 15 teams on defense and needing 15 on offense, you need 30 crons. So make sure that once your set 14 expires, kind of have an idea of how many crons you need to be going after in that first week to make sure you've got enough to get the job done for week 1. Aside from that, looking forward to see you all here next week for the week 3 wrap up. And until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.